Ooh, ooh, it didn't even put primer on. Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be doing a review of one of the newest makeup launches from Sephora, and that is the Patrick Ta Major Sculpt Cream Foundation and Finishing Powder Duo. We have this brand new beautiful product right here that we're going to be doing a first impression, see how it applies. Then I'm also going to be doing 2 days of testing. So if you're interested in this product, seeing how it wears, especially on my combination oily skin, does it actually hold up? Then keep on watching. So this is supposed to give you flawless coverage with a luminous silk-like finish in one compact. It has a velvety cream foundation that blends seamlessly to perfect the complexion and blur imperfections, paired with an airy translucent setting powder to soften, diffuse, and minimize the appearance of pores. So this is the actual product right here. Very typical Patrick Ta packaging, very beautiful. I tried not to touch it, but clearly I failed because these products with this like rose gold mirror type packaging literally collect fingerprints like mad. So you open it up and it does come with a nice sized mirror up here, and then it has like a shield for the cream foundation. And then the bottom one is the powder. So that's the actual product there. I got it in the shade Fair 2. There we go. So this is Fair 2. So this is a very pricey product. It retails for $69 Canadian. Now you are getting a foundation and a powder. Let's just go ahead. I'm gonna do a brush on this side, a sponge on this side. We'll see which one kind of does better. So the shade looks like it's gonna be too dark, but I also feel like it's probably, ooh. Okay, so it's a lot softer than I thought. I went in and like picked up quite a bit of product. Ooh, it almost looks like once you actually play with it, it has like a very interesting texture. Do you see it's like thicker and almost has like, looks like a whipped consistency kind of. You see that? Very interesting. Well, I'm just gonna kind of, oh yeah, it's thicker than I thought. Let's pop some on that baby right there. I'm gonna just lightly dab the brush in and see where we get. Okay, shade's a lot better than it looks. It's really kind of melting into the skin and blending perfectly, I think, in terms of shade. I already feel like I'm gonna like the sponge better because I always do. So what I would normally do if I'm gonna use a brush is I would still go over with the sponge because typically I need to kind of go over to blend in any lines or just to get that kind of airbrush finish. But the brush actually did a really good job. I feel like my skin, oh, I can almost in the monitor and in the mirror see that very subtle sheen that's giving that luminous kind of skin, like healthy skin finish. So it's not dewy per se, but it's almost like that luminous where you just look like you have the most hydrated, supple skin. And I like it. Definitely not full coverage, like you can see. I can't get over this consistency. Like, look at how it looks. It's a very interesting feel and it's hard to describe. It's also, the camera's having a hard time because of the shiny packaging, but can you see how it's like very almost like whipped consistency once you actually play with it? Now let's go in with the sponge using my beauty blender. By the way, this was my Artiste Oval 7, which is my favorite foundation brush. Now let's go in again. I feel like you pick up quite a bit of product, so you don't need, like, I just grabbed, I think, a lot of product. You don't need to like swipe, you just need to dab, because I think I picked up a whole side of my face in one go. I'm not loving the way that that sponge is applying it. When I applied it with the sponge, it almost like it's just placing it. It's not like blending it in. Like you almost need to swipe it on. I'll leave this part here so you can see what I mean. See, it almost like looks not perfect. Okay, now you just gotta work it into the skin. So I might have also picked up too much. So make sure you don't pick up too much because I think a little goes a long way and you don't wanna add, especially with a cream foundation, it's gonna be a little bit typically slightly thicker in consistency, so you might have to work it into the skin a little bit more. Now, as you can see, I feel like both have similar coverage, so I don't think it really matters whether you use brush or sponge. Once worked into the skin, it is very beautiful. Very beautiful. I'm really digging the way this is looking on the skin. Very natural. I didn't even put primer on. I'm losing it. Okay, so I don't normally do review, like wear tests without primer, because I always wear primer, so I feel like it's not really like necessary, but I guess some of you guys might not wear primer. So because I forgot to put on primer, we're going to be testing it today without primer. And then tomorrow, when I do day 2, I will do a good mattifying primer to see how it, you know, does it work better with primer. So yeah, but so far so good. It's looking really nice and smooth on the skin. It's definitely blurred my pores, like especially without having any primer. My skin looks quite smooth and flawless. I can definitely see this luminous finish without it being like oily, dewy, heavy, thick, uncomfortable. The only thing I'm not loving is the coverage. Like I do want more from this, so hopefully it's buildable. Okay, so we're doing second layer with the brush. I got maybe a little bit more coverage, but still, it's a medium coverage. I would say it's almost like light to medium coverage, and it's definitely buildable. And then I'm gonna do my second layer with the sponge as well. Yeah, I definitely just picked up too much with the sponge, because that's why it went all funky on me. So if you just lightly tap, you get more than enough. I'm liking it better with the sponge now that I've tried that. Personal preference is definitely the sponge, but that's very common. And I actually feel like I maybe got a little bit more of that full medium coverage with the sponge. I actually feel like it's giving me a little bit more coverage. Let's see if I can apply a tiny bit more. Yeah, maybe not. This guy's just probably gonna need some good concealer. But yeah, I mean, now that I have that second layer on, I'm really happy with the coverage. I feel like if I just pop some concealer on that baby, I'm really good to go. You know, a little bit of scarring is poking through, a little bit of freckles are poking through, but that's okay. I actually really am enjoying this. I do enjoy the way it's looking on the skin and feeling on the skin. It's actually dried down to not being super heavy or tacky. It's maybe just very slightly kind of, not sticky, but like, you know, when you can kind of, it doesn't dry down completely matte, but it's also supposed to give a luminous finish, which does make the skin look really nice and healthy. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is pop on some concealer, some cream contour and whatnot, and I'll be back to try out the powder. Okay, so it's obviously gonna tell me to use their brush, which I don't have. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use a regular powder brush that I have. And I'm actually going to, on the other side, use my sponge, just because I do like to use powder with a sponge sometimes, and I'm curious to see how this one will work. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I blend out that concealer, and let's go first in with the sponge. Powder. Really press it in. I am testing a new concealer, so day 2 I will use a concealer that I already know and love to make sure that if anything goes funky under the eyes, we know it wasn't the concealer, but I just utilizing my filming day to get more than one video done. So what I like to do when I use my sponge is, so on this side, this is what I'm going to do, is just apply it in kind of my areas that I really want to pack that in, smooth out any texture and my oily areas. So like my T-zone and under my eyes. So I'm gonna kind of do that area with the sponge. Then typically I would go with a brush for the rest of the face. So for the rest of my entire face, I will do the brush. I'm gonna just double check there's no lines under this side. Going with some powder. Typically when you use a brush with powder under the eyes, it's gonna be less powdery. It's gonna give a more natural appearance. We fully applied with powder. So far from a distance, I'm enjoying the powder. I don't see any noticeable texture or anything going on that's funky. Let's take a look up close. Okay, I'm not loving under the eyes. I don't normally use pressed powder under the eyes though, so that could be why. I just feel like it's accentuating all my lines and it's kind of made the concealer go funky. Again, this is why we're gonna do a day 2 with a different concealer. The rest of the face though looks pretty good. It's looking kind of bunchy, and here again, this could be the concealer. So I'm going to not focus on that too much. The rest of the face is decent, pretty smooth. Like my pores look pretty smooth. So let's just see how it holds up. And then day 2, we'll get an even better idea as to how these products look and wear. So if you're interested in finding out how these products actually hold up, seeing a day 2, even more in-depth wear test, then keep on watching. Hey guys, so it is 8 o'clock. It's been about 8.5 hours. Don't mind baby. She's probably gonna start to wake up right now. But I just wanted to pop in to update you guys. The foundation's not looking awful. It's definitely super dewy and like shiny. So I definitely think that a primer would be helpful for me. So we'll try that day 2. My under eyes, I'm not loving. So we're gonna see day 2 with a different concealer if that solves the problem. If not, then maybe the powder won't be my favorite for the under eyes. The rest of the face is still looking nice aside from the fact that it's super, super shiny. I just wanted to see what it looks like if I touch it up. Okay, so this is it blotted. It doesn't look too horrible, but it definitely accentuated texture, made things look a little bit more cakey. It's not that bad though. It's because I was so shiny, and I could have also blotted with a paper first. That would probably help. But anyways, definitely gonna try with a primer and a different concealer. So far, I'm not mad about it, but I do wanna see how day 2 wears before I form a final opinion. Hey guys, so it is end of day 2. It has been 11 hours since I put my makeup on. So I have some mixed emotions about this product. I don't hate it at all. I do like it. I feel like you can see I'm quite shiny. So if you're oily combination skin, it's probably not the best for you for long wear. Now that being said, it's not like breaking apart. So I feel like we could probably touch that up and it would hopefully give, you know, some longer wear. And I would have probably touched it up before it got to this point. And 11 hours is a long time, so that's pretty good. I had a bit of transfer here as I was eating, and I tried to like kind of wipe a little bit, and so it's not transfer proof, but it was also kind of oily at that point. So I find once it gets to that oily point, it's easier for it to slide around on my face. And I do quite often get some transfer from my chin. So I'm not super mad about that. I'm not like super surprised about that, especially considering it didn't, you know, stay super matte. Otherwise though, like I feel aside from the shine, you know, I don't really have a whole lot of breaking down. Today with the Tarte concealer, I feel like in the areas like around here, it held up a lot better. It looks a little bit less like kind of cakey, bunchy, like funky around the nose. Under the eyes though, I really don't like that powder under my eyes. I mean, I'm not a huge pressed powder fan, so I think that's part of it. I feel like I like my loose powders. It really smooths out the area, whereas this, I feel like you can see it's like separated. So it doesn't hold in the concealer, and it also, I find, accentuates my lines under my eyes and makes them look a little bit more dry. So I don't recommend this powder for under the eyes, at least from my personal experience and from my use. But honestly, on the rest of my face, it looked pretty good. I like the foundation and the powder together as they look really natural. They do look quite smooth on the skin. I mean, my texture is really kind of poking through now that we're end of day, oils have poked through type thing, but my skin looked pretty smooth earlier. So it's not awful by any means. I do really like it. I will continue to use it, but I don't know if I would say it's worth the money. The foundation didn't hold up to my oils, and it did transfer a bit. And I don't love the powder under the eyes. So for $69, I really think that you can find better products out there, which kind of sucks because I love Patrick Ta. This is the first product I haven't been super over the moon about. So yeah, that's my final opinion. I hope that was helpful and that you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to enter my giveaway I have going on right now. The information will be in the description box down below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful day. See you guys next time. Bye.